The Manpower Ministry says that medical expenses paid by Sumo Salad have been fully reimbursed, but investigations are ongoing, with the claims process not yet concluded. On top of medical reimbursements, insured employees can also get lump sum compensation paid out by the insurer if assessed to have physical incapacity. In a media briefing, MOM also revealed details of the incident. On June 6, an employee of Eatery Sumo Salad was injured. A report was submitted by the employer. By June 26 and 27, Sumo Salad was fully reimbursed for medical bills and medical leave wage losses. But on 18 July, its owner, Jane Lee, posted allegations of workplace injury fraud on Facebook. She died the next day under unnatural causes. MOM says investigations are active, with the worker still in Singapore, and that the insurer has not flagged any fraud to date. Around 12 cases a year are referred to MOM for suspected fraud and investigated. On average, 2 workers are prosecuted annually for false claims and 2 employers for failing to fulfill work injury compensation obligations. Safeguards are in place to deter abuse. First, the claim goes to the insurer for assessment. If rejected, the case goes to MOM for investigation. If accepted, the insurer will reimburse employers and issue a notice on compensation amount. At this point, either employer or employee can raise objections. If there are objections, the insurer will refer the case to MOM. If not, the compensation is paid out. The Association of Small and Medium Enterprises says that fraudulent work injury claims inflict significant psychological distress. While the association does not track specific data, it says that SMEs are more vulnerable and face a steep learning curve in compliance and HR practices. Let's get more on this issue from a lawyer who deals with workmen's compensation cases. Ray Lewis, a managing director at Ray Lewis Law. He joins me now on Zoom. Ray, give us an idea of what is covered and what is not covered under workmen's compensation.
Hi, thanks for having me. So, under work injury compensation insurance, this applies to both local and foreign employees. 2 main categories: employees doing manual work and those not doing manual work earning a salary of $2,600 or less. So whilst working, if they are injured and if the claim is legitimate, then a compensation will be paid out. So the more serious the injury, the higher the compensation. So in a nutshell, that what covers work injury compensation insurance.
Right. So what happens if a business fails to provide proper coverage?
So if there is a gap in their insurance coverage, the owner of the company has to fork up money himself or herself to pay the injured worker if the injury happened in the course of employment.
Let's turn to fraudulent claims, Ray. It says that there are 12 investigated annually. How can employers protect themselves from fake claims?
Yes, so that's a very serious issue when there is fake claims. So I think first thing they should do is to screen their employees to make sure they hire the right people. Now, it's not foolproof, but it is important to try to be thorough during the interview level to check about their work experience. Secondly, when they start work, the employer should keep a close eye to make sure that the workers are working properly. Next thing I would say, put measures in place like CCTV and to ensure that the environment is safe to work. And if they have such measures, of course, you can't prevent fraud, but certainly you can take measures in place to reduce the risk of a fraudulent claim.
Right. So it's not fail-proof, that's what you're saying. But so what steps should
That's
employers
correct.
take if they suspect a claim might be false?
So one of the things they should do is to check, for example, if there's CCTV, check if there were any witnesses who witnessed the accident. Next thing is to interview the worker thoroughly to find out exactly what happened. Now, if they still suspect fraud, they should inform their insurer as well as MOM for investigation to take place.
So in a dispute, Ray, what happens, right? Who has the final say? It becomes a case of he says, she says, right? Who finally has to say?
Okay, so let's say we have a scenario where MOM investigates and the officers then find out that there is a fraudulent claim. The accused persons or the fraudulent claimant may be charged in court, and in a lot of cases, they are sentenced to jail. Okay, it can range from few weeks to few months. So in instances like that, MOM has the final say because they can prosecute the fraudulent claimant. Now, in other instances where it's not so clear, so unless there's clear evidence of fraud and there is no clear evidence of any lying or any of that sort, you would notice from the statistics, most of the claims are paid out. So I would say for employers, I think there's one key takeaway from this unfortunate incident is to make sure that your workers are adequately insured. Although business cost is high and there's a lot of overheads, but in instances like this, when there is an accident, the payout can be quite substantial. And if you don't have adequate insurance, it can really hurt your bottom line, and you may have to end up paying tens of thousands of dollars in compensation.
All right, Ray, thank you for that analysis. Ray Lewis, lawyer and MD at Ray Lewis Law.